Good morning. I'm John Ellsworth, founder of Success Strategies Incorporated and the creator of the Success Strategies Advantage, and I want to welcome you to today's presentation, which I've entitled, Are You Playing by the Rules? Now, it's always good to play by the rules, I guess, but in a book that I reread recently by Tim Ferriss, I believe it was his first book, called The 4-Hour Workweek, which I haven't quite yet figured out how to achieve. But he talks about a Chinese proverb, an old Chinese proverb that has three parts to it. He said, before you get into any competition, any game, any business dealing, you could apply this to as well, there are three things you want to know. Number one, you always want to know the rules of the game, how it's going to be played, how to stay in bounds, that type of thing. Number two, he says, or the Chinese proverb actually says, always knows the prize that you're competing for. And number three, know when the game ends. So always know the rules of the game, know the prize you're competing for, and finally, know when the game ends. So let's take a practical application. Let's say you're doing a new loan for some property that you're buying for your operation, for your business. Number one, so the loan is, the rules of the game are, we need to know all the rules of engagement. What are the expectations of the bank? What are the covenants they're putting in place? And I think sometimes people skim over these, saying that, well, the bank says this, so it has to be. I'm not so sure that's always the case. We want to make sure that they're realistic, because ultimately, if you know all the rules of the game, you also want to know what happens if you miss one of those covenants. And the way that the dairy industry and some other operations in our economy have been, some other businesses, industries in this past year or so, it's crucial that you know what happens if I miss one of those covenants. So that's part of knowing the rules of the game. Number two, know the prize that you're competing for. This is crucial, especially if you get into profitability and covenant challenges, as I just mentioned, like so many businesses have the last couple of years, or even more so perhaps during COVID. I think the important thing is to make sure that you do not let your pride become greater than your reality. And especially when we talk about things like debt service coverage, how much principal and interest can I pay and still cash flow, still operate my business successfully from a financial perspective? And the key to that is to project cash flows accurately. This is crucial. There is a program we have on our homepage at success-strategies.com, the address which is right above my head right now as I speak. It's crucial that we project these cash flows because we want ultimately to get to the prize that we're competing for in this game, or in this case, in this loan arrangement. And number three, know when the game ends and when your objective has been reached. Option one, of course, is to pay off the loan in full over time, over 20 years, 30 years, whatever time period you have in your loan agreement. But again, what if we run into covenant and profitability problems? Will the bank be there? Banks have been a little bit challenging most recently, especially in workout situations, which some of them have appeared to be more like kick-out situations. And getting refinanced at another lending institution is great, but we have to make it a reasonable and attainable process, if you will. So it's critical to know if the bank will be there to work with you through these tough times. So my suggestion is always know the rules of the game, know the prize that you're competing for, and know when the game ends. And let's work through this difficult financial period together. If I can help you, please let me know. But I want to leave you with a thought from George Bernard Shaw, and I quote, "Reasonable men adapt themselves to the world. Unreasonable men adapt the world to themselves, or at least try to. Thus all progress is due to unreasonable men." End of quote. I want to thank you for listening today. I, again, am John Ellsworth, founder of Success Strategies Incorporated and the creator of the Success Strategies Advantage. Thank you very much.